Maxie Presnell joins us in the Sydney studio. All the top two-year-olds on show at Rose Hill yesterday, Max.
Yes, David, certainly the Golden Slipper situation, though, is still very clouded. I think it would have been clearer had Shane Dye not gone for a run on the inside of Darren Beedman. Darren may have found God, but certainly he rides as tough as anybody. And while Beedman wasn't responsible for the interference to Magic of Sydney, certainly had Dye came around the outside and surged down the straight on the outside, I do think he'd be Golden Slipper favourite now.
OK, we'll be looking at that race just a little later on. Down in Melbourne, Keith Hillier is about to join us. And Monday of this week was the Australia Cup. And did we see one of the real stars of the autumn in action?
I'm sure we did, David, in Saintly, and he's going to be a Flemington horse for sure. This was Bart Cummings' 10th Australian Cup win. This is footage that should be kept as a reminder that you can't take on any race, any big race, with any great horse as an afterthought, because in front is nothing like a Dane. This race was never on his intended schedule. He was persuaded, or there was persuasion used for him to run in it. He tried to jump from 1,400 metres to 2,000 metres second up, and now we're seeing him weaken, and now we're seeing a horse that had been set for the race in Saintly striding away with the most emphatic win. Vialia, the former German, runs second, and Peep on the Sly regained a bit of form to run third there. Out of that, John Hawkes in Sydney said, it doesn't really matter, bring them up here. All they can hope to do is run second or maybe third behind Octagonal.
Keith, the track bias at Flemington last Monday, Darren Beedman, the rider of Saintly, said it was decidedly better off the rail where Saintly galloped. He assessed that. He didn't mind travelling wide. And just to what degree did it affect the result of that race?
I don't think it made a major effect on that race. It certainly did on the Newmarket Handicap, Max, where the outside of the straight was a lot faster. But we had track bias again at Moonee Valley yesterday, and it's something that we didn't have to contend with a decade or two ago. But now you need to take a windsock to the races if they've got a straight race at Flemington. And you've got to watch a race or two before you start serious punting on most other courses.
Well, back to the two-year-olds yesterday at Rose Hill. Is Lee Friedman vying now for the fourth successive slipper trial on yesterday's form?
I would say on yesterday's form, Lee is strongly fancied to pick up his fourth slipper. This is Merlin on the outside of the leader here, and note how comfortably she's going. It was a trot and canter early in a sprint home which suited Merlin, but it was a workmanlike performance, and in the enclosure before the race, I still think she had a shade of improvement. But in a faster run race, Merlin would be suited too. But there's Merlin going to the post very strongly, very comfortably. The outside, that's Dashing Eagle. Now, Dashing Eagle is trained by Bart Cummings, and Bart will attempt to qualify Dashing Eagle for the Golden Slipper. He'll run her next week and then the Slipper. Now, as Keith Hillier made the point before, these afterthought preparations, I'm not over enthusiastic about them. Two-year-old having 3 runs in 3 weeks, I think is too much to see a two-year-old produce his best on the big day, Golden Slipper Day.
Yes, Max, our Cashel, she was a running favourite for the Golden Slipper before her pretty ordinary run yesterday, wasn't it?
Not comfortable at Rose Hill, perhaps didn't adapt to the blinkers as you would expect, but full honours to the winner, won very, very well, and is an ideal slipper horse.
Keith,
I think you're right.
Max already had his words said about the Todman slipper. A lot of interference. Flavour survived after the protest, second against first.
Was this a horse race or a Dodgem car race?
There was plenty on, wasn't it, from the 300-metre mark? Look at this.
Straight 300 out, roaring successes.
That's Flavour in the pink colours, and inside, copping all the trouble in the world, is Magic of Sydney. Now, Dye gets to the outside finally, and watch the way this horse goes to the line.
Magic of Sydney is charging home late, but Flavour drew clear near the line from Batavian. Magic of Sydney getting home hard in the last
bit.
So
what would Waterhouse Tactics be? Have to set it for the Pago next week?
Again, you're going to have a two-year-old that will probably have to have 3 runs in 3 weeks. Now, up until yesterday, basically, Magic of Sydney was kept in cotton wool. So he's going to go from one extreme to the other, and under those circumstances, I will be gambling against him in the slipper.
Max, the rider of Batavian, couldn't have escaped unscathed from that, could he?
No, he escaped with a month, Keith, and Shane Dye came back, called him everything, and certainly in language that I wouldn't even refer to you.
Well, Max, it's interesting today that Paint, who beat Flavour in the Blue Diamond, is an odds-on, a 2s-on favourite for the Black Opal in Canberra, and doubles bookmaker Michael Iskender down here said if he wins today, as he will, he'll be 7-2 favourite for the slipper.
I would go along with that, but 7-2 favourite, but Black Opal winners haven't got a big record in the slipper, Keith.
4 seconds.
Yeah, 4 seconds, but still no one on top.
What's the latest on Hariba down there after yesterday in the Stanley Wooden?
Well, I spoke with Ken Newman this morning, David, and he's totally mystified because, believe it or not, Hariba is walking freely this morning. He was walking yesterday, as one wag pointed out. He finished 16 lengths behind All Our Mob in the Stanley Wooden. Paddy Payne said that he just didn't feel right at any stage of his action, but there's All Our Mob, who was, well, when you take Hariba out, the only weight for age performer in the race, so therefore he has an easy win. But Hariba had soreness in a joint after the race. He's being x-rayed today.
Saintly's certainly not the most robust, outstanding horse we have, but with the right man, Bart Cummings, he'll win again. Merlin, certainly at this point, a true Golden Slipper favourite. And All Our Mob struck form and will continue to race very well.
Thanks, Max. Thanks to Keith out of Melbourne. Look forward to your company again next week, Keith.
In this up-to-date city, race 7, number 1 at Sandown today. Tisha Moon will win, David.
OK, thanks, Keith. We'll take a break on Sportsworld, but there's still plenty more to go. Come, don't go away.